So I've sent what little I do know about my family to a genealogist who's been doing some research, and today I'm meeting him at a nearby library to see what he's come up with. Hi.
Hi, Liv.
Nice to meet you.
Well, I was able to find some information about your father's side of the family. I wanted to show you a family tree.
Oh, wow, look at that. So there's my grandmother, Susan Blanchet. And my grandmother's mother, Bessie June. And then Robert Elliott, he was her father. And Robert Elliott's father was George Washington Elliott. And then George Washington Elliott's father was Robert J. Elliott. Okay, so this is great-great-great-great-grandfather. 4 times great-grandfather. Wow, that's amazing. So who are these guys?
So I found some documents.
This is so exciting.
We're
It's
going to
so
look
funny.
at the U.S. federal census records. We're going to start with the year 1860.
Free inhabitants in the town of Asable in the county of Clinton, state of New York.
So if
There's Elliott.
Yeah, so there's the household right there.
Robert Elliott. Wow. So it says he's 60 years old, so he was born around 1800.
Right.
Okay. What does it say Robert was?
He is
a
shoemaker.
Amazing. Oh, so Elizabeth is his wife.
Mm-hmm.
Emily, daughter, 24. George, 23. So that's George Washington Elliott, who's
Right.
my great-great-great-grandfather.
Correct.
Okay. Josephine, 14. Benjamin, 12. That is the family. And do we know where they're from? What their ancestry is?
This column over here gives us their places of birth. His birthplace is New York, according to the census.
Wow, okay. And why is this column blank?
It's actually the race column. The reason why it is blank is a lot of times when a census taker was working in an area that was predominantly white, normally they would just note if a person was not white.
Okay.
At this period of time, Clinton County, New York was about 95% white European descent.
What else? What else?
I want to show you the next census record. We're going to jump ahead 10 years to the 1870 census.
Okay, so this is New York.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's Robert Elliott, 69, male.
Here, you'll notice the race column here.
Oh, everything says white except for Robert Elliott says M. What's M?
M was an abbreviation for mulatto.
Okay.
So mulatto is an old 19th century term intended to mean a person of mixed European and African descent. If you'll look at the way that the census taker, he's really emphasized the M.
Yeah, it's much thicker.
It's intriguing to me that we've got such a apparent attempt to make it obvious that he's of African descent. But going back to the 1860 census, 10 years prior, he's not recorded as anything other than white.
But why was that if he wasn't white?
This is
Okay.
This is the mystery here.
Okay.
We've got 2 different records here that give us differing information about his race. So we can't say for sure whether he does have African ancestry or not.
And is this where you hit a wall? Can you go further back? Is there...
For now, this is as much as I was able to find, but we know in 1870 he's living in Clinton County, New York. And so there's bound to be some more records about him in Clinton County.
So we're on the hunt for Robert J. Elliott. Thank you, Joseph, so much. It was nice to meet you.
My pleasure.
Clinton County, here I come. So today we learned that my great-great-great-great-grandfather, Robert Elliott, was maybe of mixed race. It's all so mysterious and exciting. I would imagine there's another fork in the road coming up and some more twists and turns, which I'm really enjoying being on the adventure of. The 1860 census said that my 4 times great-grandfather, Robert J. Elliott, once lived in Clinton County, New York. Also, the 1870 census suggested that he was of mixed race. I would love to know more about him, so I've come to the city of Plattsburgh, New York, to meet a historian who's been researching him for me. Hi, Erica. Nice to meet you. I'm Liv.
Good to meet you.
Good morning.
Let's start with this right here. I'd like you to take a look
Beautiful old book. Okay, History of Essex County, New York, with illustrations, 1885. Oh my God, it's so pretty.
Robert Elliott was from Osable Village, which was sort of between Clinton County and Essex County.
Okay.
So what I've done is looked through documents in each of those places.
Okay, where am I going?
There should be a marker in there I've put in for you. Let's take a scan and see if you see anything.
Robert Elliott, a colored man, settled in the town at an early day. So this says that my 4 times great-grandfather was black or biracial?
Right.
Was he maybe half white and half black?
We don't know.
So what was it like to be a black man in that time? Was it in a community like this, was it something you had to hide, or was I can't even imagine, because I grew up in New York City.
Sure.
In such a diverse community. Were they trying to kind of hide the fact that, do you think?
Was he basically passing
That's
for
what I was
away?
trying to understand.
We don't know if he was passing. We don't know if he was in a community of people that didn't care so much.
So where did he come from and who was he?
So let's take a look.
Thank you. What's that?
A replica of the Plattsburgh Republican.
Newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday morning, June 26th, 1875. Osable Chasm, 70 years ago. Wow.
And we also have a magnifying glass.
Let's see. Okay.
That might help.
Robert Elliott, when a small boy, in some manner fell under the charge or guardianship of Captain Wright. Elliott, who was a drummer boy at the siege of Plattsburgh. Oh my God, this is so, so cool. I can't take it. My father was a drummer. That's how he started. And then eventually someone let him get up and sing, but he's always been a drummer. Wow.
Yeah. So we've learned a couple of things.
He was a drummer boy.
And he was coming under the guardianship of
Captain Wright?
Yep. To be under the guardianship of someone meant perhaps you were an indentured servant.
Okay.
Especially as a person of color, as a mixed race.
They sort of owned you? Was it like a purchase sort of thing? Or?
For people who were enslaved, they were considered the property of another person until death.
Okay.
For indentured servitude, it was a little different. You typically gave over as a servant a certain number of years, and you agreed to serve that person. And typically, they'd give you shelter, clothing, food, perhaps you learned a trade.
That was a much better version for someone.
Well, at least there could be an end in sight. So in 1799, New York begins to end slavery. And it says all people born to enslaved women would be held as indentured servants.
Okay.
Men up until the age of 28. So Robert Elliott could have fallen into this category.
So that would have meant that Robert Elliott's mother was a slave and he was born in that environment.
Very possibly.